So we use a Mastermind Pvc, which is the latest product from RJM, and it's pretty much everything that they've learned about pedal boards and racks in a pedal board setup. So this is available for Mac and PC, and it's a dodgy mic lead that I didn't make. It's basically an editor. And we're not connected right now, but we can do this in real time on the PVC, and then we can also, so I'll explain. Everything that this thing can do can be controlled on the computer. So Jeffrey can be, or whoever, can be flying or on the tour bus between gigs on his MacBook or PC, God forbid, and and he can do everything he needs to do on this page here, set lists. So it's all blank right now, but basically on the left-hand side we have set lists. In the middle we have songs in the set list, and on the right-hand side we have available songs. And then back one page we have songs, and you have songs, and then you have presets in the song, and you have presets. So he can build presets for verse, intro, verse, chorus, bridge, solo, and a global, which is ambient. Most guys like Nige from Hillsong just has a permanent ambient sound, which is like, you know, angels on a horse with flaming swords coming down from heaven. He can make presets, he can put that into songs, and then he can put the songs into set lists. The next thing I want to talk about, if you can see it, or you'll see it soon, it's this new quartz timer that Celara put out. So they had version 1, this is version 2. So you can, on your computer again, you have to be connected for this one, you can't do it on a USB stick. You can go through and label presets on your computer. You can put BPM in. You can also change the color. So the background color is black and the foreground color, the text is white. We've got maroon and red, so forth. So we just keep going down, 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 and so on and so forth. There's a few other things this thing does. It does set lists as well. And then in the global menu, we have 4. So this sends MIDI BPM, which is like a MIDI clock. So this tells the timeline, and it won't tonight because I haven't done that yet, but it will also tell the Specter and the Gravitas via MIDI what tempo to use for that song. It also has 4 auxiliary outputs, so you can, if you've got an old school DD5 or like a Bellwether or the Deluxe Memory Man tap tempo that doesn't take MIDI, you can send regular 1/4-inch jacks to that for tempo. The cool thing is that for each auxiliary output, you can choose to have it normally open or normally closed, which is basically the signal is when you press down or when you lift off. Some people don't like it. They like to tap it in when they're hitting it, and some people like it when they're lifting off. That's what that is. You can also choose to send 1/4, 1/8, dotted 1/8, or 1/16 per jack. It's ridiculous. So basically, the combination of these two with an external bank up and bank down will do everything he needs to do. Anyway, that's cool. I reckon we should get Seth up here and see if we can't get a tune out of this thing. All right. Input is a junction box we made for him. This actually has a tuner built in. If I go, there's a tuner right there. It's probably impossible to see. Yeah, it is. It has a tuner built in, so he didn't build any kind of tuner send, which a lot of guys like because, good idea, good opportunity to tune. It's super accurate, there's nothing wrong with it, but a lot of guys like to have their tuner always on. And the Sonic Research Strobo tuner is by far the most legit tuner on the market. It's super fast, super accurate, and very bright. So I would recommend it above all others. So we built a buffer in here that splits the signal. It's kind of the same situation as your volume pedal, like the Ernie Ball volume pedal. That mod that JHS do and this one's mine do, it basically takes the passive split and restores your signal. So when guys talk about losing top end from their volume pedal, it's probably because they have an unmodded one and they're using the tuner out. So we send signal to the tuner all the time, and then from there we go into the Delmar. And the Delmar is the replacement for the RC booster, which is really popular, right up front, always on. It's great for tone shaping, balancing between different guitars, particularly for touring guys that use single coils, humbuckers. They can bend down and change the bass response, especially the gain as well. Anyway, so are we on? This is straight into the Delmar. So we'll keep that pretty clean. It's really just about, there's some bass there, a bit more treble kind of thing. First up is the, oh, sorry, I should mention the other thing this one does is bank up and bank down permanently. The reason we've done that, so there's bank up and bank down switches on the PVC, but it kind of takes up 2 switches permanently. So we provide this. It's also the input, and it means, because Jeffrey's always going to be using bank up and bank down on tour. So when he's in preset mode, which is green, you just see that. Yeah, bank up, etc. Anyway, we'll get back to that later. Right, loops. Up front is the compressor from Walrus Audio Deep 6. I'm sure a lot of you guys are... Just turn you off. I can't talk when you're loud. Sure, a lot of you guys, these Southerners, right? Yeah, I'm sure a lot of you guys are aware of Walrus being a OKC company. So that's compression, pretty straightforward. We've got a POG from Matthews Effects. Not from Matthews Effects. We've got a POG from Electro Harmonics modified by Matthews Effects. It's a very straightforward thing. It basically gives you 2 sounds out of 1 pedal. If you need a POG and you can't get the big fat original one, just get this, because they all do pretty much the same thing. Unless you've got golden ears, like, yeah, anyway. So this is, one sound with octave up only, and then we can switch this, and now we've got octave down only. And that's basically what that does. So we've got it up on this riser. It's actually on another pedal that's doing MIDI to the Chaise Bliss, but it means that Jeffrey can come over here and change presets. Simple. Little Green Wonder, probably his most famous pedal. I actually don't know how he uses these, so I'm just kind of showing you what they sound like through these amps. I've got no idea. But he has this first because he likes it. Yeah. A Little Green Wonder. Then the Super Bolt. This is the version 2, which has the red remote. You want to give us a sound on that, Seth? All right. Next is the Rat. This is a stock Rat, like a modern. There's nothing vintage about this. It's just brand new, modded for regular power instead of that 1/8 inch, stupid 1/8 inch positive tip jack thing. Toggle on the top that does different sort of clipping and gain and so forth. That's cool. The Rat. Then we get to, sorry, I should have mentioned something. Between loops 4 and 5, we have a mono audition, which is this thing here. So the signal comes from the PVC and it goes to this main junction. And we've got a TRS jack. We've got a TRS jack on the side. I just need a TRS for space. And I've got a Y cable that does a send and return, so he can patch in between loops 4 and 5, which is between the bolt and the rat. Another overdrive. In this instance, we've got the Greer Amps tar pit, which is a mental fuzz. Yeah, it's good. It's mental in a good way. Yeah, I like it because it's crazy. After that, we've got, so from that we come back to here. If this isn't plugged in, we don't get any signal. So it's a switching jack, so it's normalized back into the PVC, but if he plugs this in, he needs a pedal. All right, next up, the Chaise Bliss Specter. Yeah, it does everything. To be honest with you, I don't really know how it works or how to make it sound good. I've never actually had one in my possession until 3 days ago, and I've been so focused on getting other things sorted out that I haven't had a chance to figure it out. But it's got all those dip switches on the back that change everything. One thing to note, we're actually using MIDI to talk to the Specter. So just like the timeline in the Big Sky, we can recall presets from the Specter and the Gravitas and use the quartz to send tap tempo. And that's using a modified box that's under here, which Empress Audio make. From there, we go to the volume pedal, which is this really, really awesome Hilton, which is very expensive, but it's optical. There's no string, there's no band, there's no pot, there's no moving parts except for the frame. It works on light, which is why it's $330. This one also has a buffer on the side, so I can turn and you can go right down. So you can actually, when the volume's down, you can get it to a point where, anyway, it's got an amazing feel. It's awesome. It's almost convinced me to get a volume pedal again. Almost. Okay, so from the volume pedal, we come back in here and then we get to the stereo section. We actually have the Gravitas in 7, which isn't stereo. Again, no idea how it works. I just know it makes cool noises.
Flip the dip switches.
Yeah, you can flip those. Did you?
It's on the bounce feature.
All right. I seriously don't know what you're talking about. After the tremolo, which is still mono, we go to the Reflector, which is a new chorus, well, pretty recent from Old Blood Noise. We actually are taking this and we're going to the junction box, and on the front, which the front row you can see, he has this Korg SD D200 or 300, which is a rack delay. He uses it only in the studio. It's one of those old vintage pieces of gear that guys that do a lot of recording just seem to hang on to and love. So just like the tar pit, he can patch that rack delay into the system and it will return stereo. And when he's not using that, this will return mono. So then we get to the good stuff, and hopefully this is where we get some stereo action. So right up until now, it's been mono. When he uses that rack delay, it'll come back as stereo. Now we get to the timeline in the Big Sky, which is in true stereo. And I'll just explain something real quick. The timeline and the Big Sky are running in parallel, which means that the dry signal comes along all the way to the outputs of the amp, to sends to the amps, and then it sends to the timeline, which goes out, and then it goes along and sends to the Big Sky. So in this situation, the timeline will never go into the Big Sky. The timeline is in kill dry. So if I put the timeline in series and turn the mix down, we've got nothing because it's in series and it's going into the timeline and kill dry. So we turn this up and it's just wet. If I turn this into parallel by holding this foot switch down, we get our dry, and then the mix knob becomes a level knob. So you can go, even when you crank it, it's still going to have dry underneath. Keep going. Stereo. You can keep playing. Play something nice for us. Stereo delay is pretty cool. Same with the verb, same situation, the delay and the reverb are in parallel. So this is the reverb. If I put it in series, we're only going to get and then back to parallel, we get our dry signal back again. All right, so that's basically the signal chain. A couple of things when you're building a board. We've talked about this before on Periscope. We run our audio cables, so when I've finished yabbering on, you can come up and have a look at it and have a play through it. But you'll see that I've run cables to the back of the board and looped them back. That just gives a bit of stress relief. You know, stuff always moves, especially when you're flying. So if you run everything super tight, you've probably tried to change out a pedal and you can't pull the jack out because the cable's stopping you. So if there's some slack on there, that makes that easy. It also means that if you change your pedal for a top mount or where the jacks are different, it's super easy to change out. Everything's soldered. The power is gig rig, and I know people don't understand. A lot of people think it's magic how this is powered, but it's all powered by this generator up the front here, the entire board. Pardon? Did it?
Yeah, almost.
Oh, okay. Well, it's there. It still works. Good. Apparently it's fall proof. Yeah, so basically, bear with me for a moment. Gig rig is a modular power system that starts with a distributor, but it allows you to cut, snip, and make to length 6 cables. Yeah, so you have that. Then you have an isolator, which is giving you isolated power. There's also Time Lords, so there's 2 Time Lords buried under here. We've got a distributor and an isolator buried under here. We've got an isolator under here as well. The reason guys like it is because it's super light and modular, doesn't take up much room. We have a strict 50-pound, so Americans have a strict 50-pound weight limit. We're a bit more lenient in Australia. We give 32 kilos, which is just over 60 pounds. So Nigel's board is over 60 pounds. I don't know how he does it. It's crazy how heavy that thing is. This one is going to be literally a hair under 50 pounds. So that's thanks to Colin for his amazing casework and just squishing this thing in as much as possible. And gig rig allows us to do that. The other thing I should mention is, and I'm going to make a little shout out to a product that we have called the Interfacer, which basically we have ping-ponging delays right now. And if one of the amps goes down, you flick a switch and it takes those ping-ponging delays and sends it to 1 amp. So if you're a true stereo and you lose an amp for whatever reason, you're going to lose half of... You're not going to lose half of your signal, but you kind of lose half of your image and it just sounds weird. So the interfacer with a toggle switch will combine both and send it to 1 amp. The the RJM originally didn't, the PVC originally didn't do that, and we, along with a bunch of other people, said it needs to. So this will take, so we should have, just give me like a whack, just a back and forth. If 1 amp dies, you're only going to get half of that, and it's going to sound strange. Now, we're going to get that out of both. So if 1 amp dies, if that amp dies, then it's all coming out of there. So it's kind of that sort of principle. Yeah, anyway, the interfacing, you should get one, it's good. Mikey here from Goodwood Audio. Thanks for checking out the pedalboard clinic we just held tonight here at the Workshop of Creation Music Company, featuring Jeffrey Kunde's new MIDI system. Make sure you go to creationmusiccompany.com and goodwoodaudio.com to check out all the different stuff you can get from us. Flatboards, angle boards from Creation Music, cables, the interfacer, stereo mono summing, all the good stuff. So yeah, jump on your computer and check that out. All right, thanks.